Hello and welcome. My name is Neil Thrussell.
And my name is Jamie Adamchuk.
And we are so pleased to have with us Faith Reed from, where are you right now?
I'm in San Diego.
Oh, and we have an addition that will be part of the program today. And her name is?
Ayanara. Say hi.
Say
hi. Hi, Minky.
So we are getting two speakers for the price of one today, and the lessons will be profound. So we're just going to jump right in. So Faith, what is success to you? How would you define your version of success?
It's always such a big question, I feel, because there's so many variables to it. I think at this point in my life, success is
keeping your earbuds in.
Part of that is keeping the headphones away from the small person so that she doesn't pull them out constantly. A big part of it is feeling fulfilled on a daily basis. And that's like my definition of true success, is not how much money's in the bank or how good various different things in your life is. It's how you feel about it. And, people go down the road of you can be poor and happy and you can be and whatever. So, money doesn't define success or whatever it is that people say. I don't really agree. I think there's a certain level of material success that does help you feel fulfilled. Unless you really want to be a Buddhist monk and go sit on a mountaintop and be Buddha, and that's great. But if you want to live in the real world and you want to interact with people and you want to do things and have a certain amount of freedom, then there's a level of material wealth that helps you with that fulfillment. But again, on the flip side, if you're generating all that from stuff that doesn't make you feel fulfilled and that's stressful and that feels, that drains your energy, then that's not really success either, because you've created it at a cost that's not actually worth it, in my book. For some people it is. For some people, they're in a lot of people go through a phase in their life where they need to build and they're willing to do whatever it takes to build, and they believe that that's how they need to get there. But again, I think that's just the way that our society has modeled what needs to be done in order to achieve that certain level of success. Which I don't agree with either, but that's only just through personal experience and my own back and forth with what is success and what am I trying to achieve. Because I've gone after the money and I've tried to build businesses, and some of them have been successful and some of them haven't. And I've been doing that, since I was 19 years old. And some of them have made me very happy and others have made me very ill. And the ones that haven't made me happy or haven't fulfilled me have been painful. And, that's not worth it to me. So.
Thank you. So where you are right now in life, to get where you are, you've had to use some or all of the 4 Ds. So you've had to have a desire, you've had to have some form of discipline, dedication, and determination. Which one do you feel the most towards, and which one do you feel the least that you fulfill, you do in your life?
I think the thing that drives me the most is my desire. Because without the desire, I'm not going to have the energy for the other 3.
Yes, thank you.
So I gotta have that. That needs to be the cornerstone of my building.
Yes, and the one that you avoid.
I think that's really tough, because I'm looking at them and I'm going, I am dedicated. I don't think that really ever wavers if you really have true desire.
Yes.
I'm disciplined to a certain extent. So I think there's a little bit of the discipline that kind of like isn't always there, because I'm disciplined with a lot of things. And then there are other things where I don't have that. So I think that, yeah. How many people are disciplined all the time? I don't know. I don't.
That's an excellent. To you, the listeners, are you always disciplined? We'd like to know. Yeah, I'm training for a marathon, and yes, there's days that I don't want to go, but through discipline, I just go. But then there's equally as other parts, there's this laundry pile that stands and gets, and I know I need to do it, but.
Yep. Oh yeah. I've been wanting to vacuum the floor in this room for like 3 days. I'm like, I still haven't done it. Yep. I've had a lot of other things to do, which I've done, but I haven't done that. Yep. So I get it. So
have you always been a woman that has had big dreams, desires, or are you an opportunist and they just fall into you and you go, that's really nice, I'd like to do that?
I've always had big dreams and desires, and there's also been an equal part of things that have come to me that I haven't expected. So I'll have a big dream and desire that looks a certain way and that seems like a great thing to do, and then something else will show up and I'm like, okay, fair enough, that wasn't where I was going, but seems like a great idea. So I think it's a mix of both, but I've had big dreams since I was a tiny little kid. So
sweet. Jamie, you're like, wait.
Yes, I'm absolutely here. Some really great stuff there, and looking at desire, seeing that's that number one force, but isn't it really the combination of all four of them, really that recipe that creates that success? And what I'm wondering is, can you share with us a specific example of, where you had something in your life that was successful, and maybe how you applied each of those Ds, or maybe just looking at that desire, how did that help bring that success to fruition?
That's an amazing question. I love that. I feel like you're absolutely right. In order for there to be real success in something, there needs to be all three. And wouldn't we all like to think that we could skip out on the dedication part or skip out on the discipline part? Doesn't quite work like that. As Neil said, even when you have the days where you don't want to do it, you get up and do it if it matters enough to you.
Yes.
And I think my favorite parts of life, the ones that have been the most successful in my mind, where those have been, I'll take the most recent example, because that's,
okay.
I'll give you an old one and a new one. The most recent example for me is having a child and realizing what real dedication is.
Yes.
And realizing that there's something really beautiful about a dedication that you don't have a choice about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you chose to do something, you don't have a choice. It's not I'm having a bad day, I don't feel like being a mom today, and can someone else do my job for me? Or I'll just say it has been like the most fun thing I've ever done in my life, and the easiest. And most parents won't say that. They'll go, it was hard, the first few months were terrible, we didn't sleep, this, that, the next thing. I call bullshit. I really do, because that's a choice. You get to decide how you feel about it. And it's trained me in a different way. Like, all the things that I've been learning for years in business and in personal development and in how you deal with life, and the fact that your emotions are your own choice, and the fact that the choices you make are you're going to get given certain things, whether it's in business or in life, where you're like, you know what, I don't want to do that. But you can choose how you feel about it, and you can make it exciting. And everyone says that and then doesn't really apply it. And that's why we fall down in business, especially. And the reason this has been the most fun and the easiest thing for me to ever do is because I went in with no expectations of what it was going to be like. I didn't listen to everyone when they said, it's going to be hard, you're not going to sleep, it's going to be terrible, but it's worth it. I went, you know what? It's worth it. And I choose to believe differently. I choose to believe that this is going to be fun and that I'm going to have a good time doing it. And no matter how challenging a day might be, every single time, there's not a day where I go, that was really hard and terrible. There hasn't been one. And, you know, maybe they'll come when she's older. Maybe I'll have days where I'm like, oh God, I don't think I can do this today. You know, and I've had one or two where I'm like, can I actually do this? And you get to the end of the day and it's been the most rewarding day ever. I had a business like that a few years ago where I built myself a business as a professional adventurer. Now, most people are like, what does that even mean? I'm like, so I got paid. I designed this entire thing myself. And I was like, I'm going to get paid to go and have fun and travel the world and go and do really cool stuff. Yeah, she agrees. I was like, I'm just going to get paid to go and have fun and do amazing things and share a message about what it means to really enjoy life. And I'm kind of doing the same thing now. Like I'm sort of rebuilding that because I walked away from it. I had injuries and I just couldn't do the things I was doing. But it was one of those jobs where every day there wasn't a blueprint for it. It wasn't like, oh, let's be a coach and go hire a coach who knows how to build this business, or let's be an internet marketer and go and hire an internet marketing coach to tell me how to do this, or let's, you know, build a tech company and follow, you know, build a business plan and get an investor and some advisors to tell me how to build. It was like, so no one's ever done this in the way that I want to do it. And I've got to make a blueprint for that. You know, there's the usual, like if you want to be an adventurer and you want to go do cool things, go get some sponsors and get them to pay you. But what's the adventure going to be? Where are you going to go? What kind of training are you going to do? Like no one's ever trained for something like that. So, and one of the things that I wanted to do was run, and didn't end up doing it because of my injuries, but I wanted to run from the pole of inaccessibility, which is the most landlocked place in the world in China, to the coast, essentially, which is a couple days, about a week pretty much of running across a desert. And it was one of those like where people just went, what the fuck is the pole of inaccessibility? And why are you going to China? And who's going to care? And all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, because I want to, and because it's fun, and because I really enjoy running, and because I want to see a part of China that no one ever really goes to, because it's not a tourist destination and it's not pretty and it's not, you know, like, why not? And it makes a good story. And then
that's the best reason.
Yes.
Why not?
And exactly. And then the process of like building that up and doing it. And one of the big adventures that I was planning to do, which I'm still going to do one day, is from London to Cape Town on like 7 different modes of human powered transport. So bike, swim, run, kayak, kite surf, and skateboard. And it was one of those where people just looked at me and were like, why do you want to do that? Africa's incredibly dangerous. It's going to take you a year. It's going to, you know, you're insane, basically. And I was like, well, but I want to live my life my own way and I want to have fun doing it. Now, people thought, oh, it's glamorous and it's fun and you just get to, you know, run around and run up mountains and kayak down rivers and show up for these sponsors. And I had like Merrill was my clothing and shoe sponsor. And then I had like a bunch of other companies that, you know, none for hydration. And so I'd have to go and do like show up at their events and do promotional stuff for them. And they would give me training stuff to do. And I had to open like a new store in London for them and take all the press running around London. And, you know, really fun stuff that people look at it and they go, oh, isn't that great? Your life is so easy. And I'm like, do you know how long it took me to, you know, build the following that I needed, to create an image that people actually wanted to stand behind, to build relationships with companies that really care about me and that I really care about them, who are going to support me on this journey, and to try and make a living out of that as well, because you're not really getting paid to do a job. Like there's no client, there's no service, there's no product, there's no, you know, which is what would make a normal traditional business run. You're basically just asking people to pay you to go and do really cool stuff. And it was like the weirdest business model I ever tried to build. And I was making it up as I went along. And I really needed a huge amount of desire and dedication, and that the discipline to get up every day and go, what is the best thing that I can do today for myself, for the people that I'm doing this for, and for, you know, the bigger picture, which is to live a life of full freedom and self-expression, and to always be doing exactly what you want to do in the biggest, most badass way. Which is something that I is still my message and still what I care about. And there is no point in that I could have done without all four of those things.
Wow.
Sweet. Thank you.
Something really, sorry, Neil, something really came out of this here. And I was making some notes as you were sharing this. And I don't know where this came from, but I want to read this back to you and see if this resonates with what you've shared there. I came up with the quality of your life is the quality of your choices or the quality of the evaluations of your experiences. And
I love that.
That's really what came out of that. You know, everyone's telling you that, you know, parenting, it's tough, it's hard, it's all this. You went and made your own evaluations of the situation, and you came up with something completely different. And the same thing with your choices of life. By, you know, making great choices, you've made this incredibly, incredibly powerful, empowered life. Wow, that's incredible.
And like every day for me should be fun and easy in a way that, like, even if you're working really hard, like you actually have a lot to do and you're busy and you've got a ton of things on your to-do list. If every single one of those things does not excite you to some extent, why do it? Like, and I get the whole that people go, no, but you've got to do this little bit of grind and the stuff that you don't want to do in order to get. I'm like, if you don't want to do social media and it doesn't fire you up, hire a social media manager. Hire a company to do it for you. I'm really sorry, but in order for me to be disciplined and to have dedication, I can't be derailed from my fun and enjoyment. So like with my child, like, yeah, it's fun and easy for me every day. And no, I don't hire people to help me with the hard bits because I get to do it myself. But I made that choice. I made a choice to see every single part of it as fun and easy. Now I have, you know, a to-do list of things that I've got to do for my business every day. And I'm rebuilding my adventure business, and I'm coaching as well, and I'm doing other things. But I'm rebuilding that part of my life that was most enjoyable for a reason. Because even the stuff that felt kind of crappy every day, I got up and I was excited to do it. I was like, yeah, okay, I've got to send 2,500 freaking emails today, but I'm going to do it because I know what I get out of the end of it, and I get to live the life that I want on my terms. And if that's your end goal, then there shouldn't be any reason why any one of the 4 Ds would ever be difficult. Like, that's the D you don't need.
Wow. Thank you.
So somewhere along the lines, I heard that people have said, Faith, you shouldn't do that. Faith, what are you thinking? What is the piece that keeps you going, nah, I'm going to go and do it anyways? What is the piece that makes you go, despite what all of the wealth of knowledge out there is telling you to do? What keeps you? What makes Faith go and do it her way?
Part of it is people telling me that I can't do it or shouldn't do it. If someone says, no, you can't do that, I'm like, really? Watch me. Because that's the best fuel I've ever gotten. And the other thing is joy. It's freedom. Like, it's total freedom. It's, if this is going to make me live the life that I want to, and I'm going to be totally free doing it, and I'm going to have fun, there is nothing in the world that can stop me. You can have 100 people standing there going, we're going to try and stop you. You can't do this, blah, 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 blah. What are you doing? Like, people going, oh, you having your career and doing whatever you want to do is going to take away from your family time. I'm like, no, my child's going to be with me all day, every day. Yes. Like, you can't give me an excuse or a reason for me not to have the things around me that I enjoy and that I love in my life. And none of that will stop me. The other thing for me is my purpose in this world is helping people live liberated, free lives of true self-expression and joy. And I see so many people, especially these days, where they run into walls, where they've been unhappy doing the same thing again and again and again, and they start to try and change their lives. they go out and they start hiring coaches to like figure out who they are and why they're here and all this other stuff. And I've been there, I've done it. I got myself all mixed up in trying to figure out who I was when I knew who I was all along. And along that path, I ended up trying to be everybody that I wasn't.
Yes.
I tried to build a business the way that everybody else told me to do it. I tried to run my day the way that everyone else told me to do it. Like, you need to get up at this time. You need to do your journaling at this time. You need to meditate at this time. You need to eat these things. You need to, and I was like, okay, and this is how you need to speak, act, think, behave. This is how you need to sell your product. This is how you need to sell your service, because I've done it that way and it's successful. Yes, take pieces of other people's success that feel good to you, that resonate and feel aligned. Use them to your advantage. Read about other people's failures and learn from their mistakes. It's a wonderful way to learn. It's much easier than falling on your face and then having to try and get back up. It's way easier. And if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Like, for me, I've done so much of my messaging has ended up sounding like my coach at one point, because I lost somewhere in all of that, I lost my own self-confidence, and I thought, oh, I can't do what they're doing. That looks really, because I'd try and do it and it would feel so hard and I'd get so drained and I'd be like, oh, there must be something wrong with me. And there was nothing wrong with me. That just wasn't the right path for me. Keep coming back to you. Keep coming back to what's real for you, what's aligned for you, what feels good. You just really want to talk today, don't you? Okay, go say hi. Go say hi. She does what she wants to all day, every day.
We've got no idea where she gets that from at all. No idea.
No. She's a little stubborn Taurus like her dad, that's why.
Oh.
I'm going to blame it on him.
That's our branding coach. Jamie and I use the same branding coach, and one of his lines is, no one can do you like you do you. So he's not here to reinvent and make you look like anyone else. And that's why I fell in love with him, because your brand is you.
You're gonna have to put me in touch with him, because he sounds awesome.
And he's got lots of examples of what other people have done, but it's you have to be you. Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna blame media online and Facebook a little bit for this, because we spend all of our time looking at what other people are doing. Right? We're inundated with what other people are doing. Go spend a week on your own and figure out if it feels really good. Like, turn your phone off for a week. If you're really struggling to make a decision about something, go turn your phone off for a week and figure out if it still feels right at the end of that week. Because in all honesty, we spend so much time staring at other people's stuff and getting the whole, well, it's working for them and mine isn't working, so maybe if I try that, it'll work. Or, maybe I need to change my messaging to sound like this person because she gets really good engagement on her posts. Or maybe I need to update my image to look like that person because her photos look amazing. You're not being yourself. Like, if you really just sat with it and sat with yourself and weren't so concerned about what everybody else was doing, you'd figure it out on your own. Like, I know what I'm good at. When I try to do anything else, it's like, that's probably not going to work that well.
Yes.
And I don't feel fulfilled at all. And that's my big thing, is feeling fulfilled. That's my success marker. That's my measuring stick. I'm like, where am I feeling fulfilled here? I'm not. Great. Okay, stop doing it.
Yes. Jamie, you're looking like you've got a question.
I do. Thinking back, you had shared with us that you did have a couple failures and stuff like that. Here's an odd question, but what did you get out of those failures?
Oh. You know what I got? The biggest thing I got was, it comes back down to being myself. Ooh. All of those failures happened because I wasn't being true to me. I was trying to do something that was big and lofty and sounded great in my head, and would have looked great on paper, but that wasn't true to my heart. And it wasn't true to my personality. And it wasn't true to where my vision and my values lie. And when I got off course with that, things fell apart.
That's amazing. And really being value-centered, understanding who you are as a person. You individually, Neil understanding myself, I understanding myself, Get in touch with yourself.
Yeah.
Find that reality of what it is, not someone else's reality, but your own reality. That's a massive jewel right there. Thank you for that.
Pleasure.
So I'm feeling into it that this is, I think we've hit the end of our time with Faith here. Thank you for taking your time away from your daughter to share with us. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure.
I will ask one more question, and Neil typically asks this question, but it's a powerful question. So say I'm a 19-year-old man, and I'm just starting out. I'm on my pursuit of success. I'm looking to get success. I don't have a lot of skills or tools, but I'm eager, I'm willing. What's the one piece of information you would share with me to really find that success, to be able to create success on my terms?
I'll just start by saying that I've seen so many, specifically 19-year-olds these days, who are making incredible waves in different industries for themselves because they're just being themselves.
Wow.
It's really interesting. And because they don't have the fear or the like, what if it doesn't work, they're too young to care about that kind of stuff. You know, when you were young and dumb and you just did shit because it was like, I'm going to just do it.
Yeah.
I love the attitude of young people in that way, because they're not worried about what if it doesn't work. Like they just don't care. They're like, what, who cares? And it's also because your brain at that age hasn't quite developed the understanding of past and future. So you don't think in those terms as much.
Yeah.
Your brain's still developing at that point. And to capitalize on where they are in life, I would absolutely say, keep coming back to what lights you up. Think about what made you happy as a kid. Think about what makes you happy and gives you joy on a day-to-day basis, whether it's playing video games and finding what in that interaction really lights you up and how to take that into life and business in other ways, or whether it's, you really love sport, or you really, like, what is it about that lights you up? Is it because you're playing as part of a team? Because if it is, don't go and try and be a solopreneur, because being a solo entrepreneur probably isn't going to give you that joy, because you're going to be stuck on your own in front of a computer. And if you love being outside playing sports, don't do it. Just don't sit in front of a computer by yourself all day. And for me, it's what lights you up the most, what brings you the most joy, what makes you feel free. And keep coming back to that. Don't worry about what anybody says. Don't worry about whether they tell you can't do it. In fact, use that to fuel your fire. And keep being the incredibly strong-headed, I don't care kind of teenager that all 19-year-olds are, because I definitely was when I was 19. And I didn't think anything in the world could stop me. And every time someone handed me an opportunity that seemed way out of my reach, I went, yeah, I can do it. I had no freaking idea. I just figured it out along the way.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
Pleasure.
So once again, thank you, Faith, for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome.